forgot to preheat the oven. So what we do is we're just going to turn the oven on to about 200 degrees centigrade. What we don't want to do is we don't want to cook our brownie on a low heat, because what it'll do, it'll dry it right out and we won't get that lovely crisp topping that we enjoy from a brownie, while keeping the interior nice and fudgy, which is what I personally like about a brownie. I'm sure my classmates will too. Squire, would you be able to give that a quick stir? That's perfect. What next? What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add my sugar in here. And I've got my eggs. So now what I need to do is I need to measure my flour. So, all-purpose flour. I believe in the UK this is known as plain flour. But do check with your local grocer, I know I did. 80 grams, which doesn't seem very much. But remember, this isn't necessarily a cake, it's more of a brownie. I'm going to follow the recipe, step for step, word for godforsaken word. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder. Unfortunately we don't have a tablespoon, so I'm just going to use 3 dessert spoons. When you're a cook you need to improvise, and that's what I'm doing. So 1, 2, and finally a third. I'm just going to quickly shove that back in the cupboard. Now, here is the absolutely crucial step. What we need to do is that once this has all melted wonderfully, which it is now, we need to allow it to cool. But do not allow it to go solid, because then you'll have to start all over again. A lot of cooks on the web will tell you to temper your chocolate. Well, you don't need to in a brownie recipe. Why? Because you're cooking it. They'd be wrong to tell you that, and stupid too. Now I'm thinking that looks about done, so I'm just going to put my safety first, and I'm going to go and get a small cloth, and what I'm going to do is cover my hands and just carefully lift this off the heat. And you're probably scrutinising me, and you'll have noticed this big wad of butter, but actually that will just melt with the residual heat that resides within, and see, gone in a few seconds. And of course we can remove this water, we can pour it down the drain, we can use it to make a cup of tea. I'm going to put it here. While we're waiting for that to cool, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my baking tin with some grease-proof paper. You'll notice that I'm using a bleached variety. If you're more environmentally conscious, you might want to use the brown. Where is it? Hidden at the bottom. If you're not familiar with grease-proof paper, what it is it's just a layer of bleached paper with a layer of silicone on it. And this allows for the finished product not to stick to it. So don't worry, it won't affect the flavour of the food. Yes, that'll be enough. Oh, that's hot, I forgot. Lower the temperature of your oven to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit for those American viewers. Now I said earlier that I was going to use a salted caramel. That's where this comes into play. Now, I'm an advocate for making everything yourself. However, today I've decided to buy some Nestle Carnation Caramel, which is simply their condensed milk, which you would usually make it with, which they've boiled for 4 hours. So what I'm going to do is I might flavour that with some salt now, because it's simply sweet at the moment. I'm going to use this really gorgeous mug, and I'm going to put some of this. Excuse me, would you be able to open this for me? Thank you, Nails. Now, see that? Gorgeously thick and quite tasty too. No longer is salt the seasoning of only the savoury. Now sweet dishes can find themselves quite liberally emblazoned with some crystals of Earth's finest mineral. Spoon this gorgeous, sumptuous, smooth caramel into the salt, and it's wonderfully thick, gorgeously indulgent, and definitely something to write home about. So I'm just going to give it a quick mix around, and that's enough. We can reserve it for later. I'm just going to go and check on my chocolate and butter, which you'll remember I melted earlier. You'll see most of there's still a little chunk there that will be from that big wad that we had in there earlier, but that will melt in time. You need to give food its own time. And see, as soon as I said it, it absolutely disappeared. Isn't that gorgeous? It's the miracle of patience, you know. And that feels quite cool as well. Yes, it's cool enough for me to put on my finger and then on my tongue, so it's cool enough to put into our sugar. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to very carefully and lovingly pour this into here. I'll just do that all in one go actually, I'm not going to do it slowly. I'm just going to, I can probably do that with a spoon to be honest, and I'll do it with the salted caramel on it because it might add a bit of lovely flavour. Important to get your hands in, rather than just getting some robot to do it. It's well combined.
Yeah. Did you see the lion?
Excuse me, could you keep it down? I'm just filming. Jasper, would you two be able to talk upstairs? I'm just filming something. I won't be long. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in these eggs. I'm going to do it slowly. Okay? Well, I'm afraid that is all we have got time for from this episode. You can watch this clip and more in the next episode where I begin to mix in the eggs and perform the rest of the recipe. So I hope to see you there. Thanks everyone. See you then. Bye.